Hello everyone. I'm trying to imagine you a little bit naked, to take off the stress, but I'm not sure my boss is here, so I'm not sure how good it's going to be. Let me start with basically what we've done in the last couple of months. And maybe we can start with a little bit of introduction. So I'm Leo, I'm working for LandO for 8 months. Originally coming from Israel. I have a bachelor degree in business administration and marketing and master's in decision making and negotiation. And I was working a little bit with LandO before that, and I have some experience in Cisco, Nielsen, and some other companies. Actually, when I arrived to LandO, I think it was like, oh, you're going to join this big corporation that it's going to be very hard to change stuff. And in the last 5 months, we've done a lot. It was a huge strain of a startup environment that helped us really to improve what we are doing. What I really love to say, it's always when we have these app summits and all this cool stuff, it's to talk about an app that I think changed the way I'm using my mobile use, and it's Vivino. I don't know how many of you know, but it's like a huge encyclopedia for wine, and every time you want to know like what wine to buy or what to do, it's really good to use it, and that's my favorite app. The time is a bit complicated. It's before lunch, so I believe everybody retired, so I will try to avoid any too complicated formulas. We're not going to have any graphs, and we're going to talk about a process that we have done in the last couple of weeks and months that changed basically the entire process of how LandO works with engagement. So we will start with a little bit of intro about LandO, then we're going to continue with some information of how we done, what we done, and how we created the change. And some facts and figures about LandO. As I said, I joined LandO 8 months ago. 5 months ago, we actually moved into a matrix structure, which means that we moved to work for the app as an app team, app commercial team, and then it allows us basically to start and restructure a lot of stuff. One of the main things that we found it very challenging was reporting. Before me, some people mentioned Excel is a horrible tool, and we agree. So we decided that we're going to do something a little bit different. So we reconstructed our databases. We tried to understand how to do it. And just to explain to you how big is the app, let's go for a little bit of numbers. I will skip most of them. The most important one is that we have 26 million downloads last quarter, app downloads. We have our almost 50% or even a little bit more than that coming from, the orders coming from basically mobile, and 65% of our traffic is mobile. So it's really big subject for LandO, and we understand that we need to tackle our engagement in a very important way. And this was why we formed this app commercial team. We're working in 15 different countries, which they still have their own views and KPIs and targets for each of the countries, and you need to know how basically to communicate as a central team with the different countries and make sure that you can align on the same numbers. I brought you a cake. I'm sorry, but you won't be able to taste it. The cake, as I see it, is basically you have the berries on top of the cake. These are our visitors. We have a lot of them. They're coming in, and they all basically cost us the same, but some of them are covered by chocolate. The ones that are covered by chocolate are basically the users that you want to bring more because they're placing orders. That's how I see it. You have a cake, you have your world, and inside this universe you have users that are going to convert and not going to convert. And the cake is basically symbolizing the wallet of the user. He has X amount of money he can spend, and you need to understand how can you bring him to spend it at your app and not on other parts of the cake. So you want to have as many chocolate berries on your side rather than the others. When we're creating the story, we're basically trying first to figure out what is standing in front of us. We understood that engagement is a very important part. You cannot always trust on organic to do the work for you and just create more and more engagement. You need to measure it, and you need to understand how to measure engagement. We found out very fast that one of the key things to do it is to first pause everything that we are doing and really think about how we want to structure the databases, how we want to form the KPIs, what KPIs we want to form there. And we try to stop really And when I'm talking about stopping, we didn't report anything for a couple of weeks because we sat down and said, okay, what are the KPIs that we want to have, what is nice to have, and what we don't need to have. We cleaned our KPIs as much as we could. And then we arrived to these main 5 KPIs that we wanted to show, which goes to WOWs, quality indexes, which are, for example, a CLV, which I think is a very important one. The number of sessions we produce, the PC2, and of course the orders. LandO is a very mature app, and we know that our brand is strong, but we still, at the end, want to have as many orders as we can, and we need to produce as much PC2. To the one of you that don't know PC2, PC2 is basically the revenue after we're clearing some of the cost. And we try to figure out how with 5 personal KPIs, we can present what the app is doing. How can we align? That's the best question everybody asking themselves, because at the end, you know, our goal is orders, and you have different teams inside it that everyone has different opinions. Developers, for example, will always look about, I don't care about orders, I care about the users. For me, WOWs is the most important indicator if I did good or not. The more users coming to visit, the better it's going to be. One of the main goals of the product team, for example, is to create more traffic inside the app. As far as they care, they want to see the user every second day. That's a very good point when you come into engagement. You need to understand what the product's trying to achieve, and then based on it, you can also align with the marketing afterwards. When we're going basically to the marketing channel managers, they care about at the end what the management goals are. They want to understand that they set and arrive to their goals and they achieve that. And they want to optimize based on KPIs that were set in advance. The finance people also looking at a very, very rough view about the budget, about the spending, what basically was produced, so what revenues we drove into the company, and based on it, they can optimize it. And of course, the product managers, as we spoke before, so they basically looking at traffic and trying to understand, okay, is the app working or not app working? What we tried to figure out here was, okay, so we have these 3 different types of users that gonna buy our product at the end, which is the reporting. How can we basically sell it for them? We try to sit down and together understand, okay, we have now 3 different stakeholders that we need to supply data, but we need them all to align on one aiming. At the end, it's producing more orders. And more orders means that we need basically to create more traffic. Creating more traffic means more quality of traffic. So we try to define how we're going to do that when we came to engagement. And as you know, we always have the finance guys that coming by and saying like, okay guys, increasing spending doesn't necessarily mean you're going to bring more revenue or you're going to basically create more profit. So you need to sit down now and see how with these 3 guys you can actually come and actually arrive to a moment that you can actually speak about what KPIs are you interested in. And that's where we arrive to a very, very simple conclusion. Some of it I will go through this presentation. So it's a user is not coming once a quarter, that's for sure. We know it. And if the user is coming once a quarter, it means that we've done a very, very bad job. So we need to improve it. We need to make sure that he's more engaged and coming more often to see us and use our app. We made engagement measurement so simple that our developers can actually use it, which means basically that we simplify it. We took the numbers and the KPIs that we used to have and we reduced them. We make sure that there is one number that everybody aligned on it and understand what it means. So they have one KPI that coming in the morning and they say like, oh, we did well yesterday, or oh, we did so awful. And that's basically what we try to figure out here. We try to see what KPI we're going to move all of these different functions into one purpose, producing more orders. And then to create a better engagement that we don't only trust organic to come back, when we're bringing them, we know that we're giving them the best experience they wanted to have. Oh, sorry, that's just to make sure that everybody are still awake, but I asked my friend to send their cat. He's a very grumpy one. I couldn't use the grumpy cat because copyrights. And then Basically, when we done this process, we understood one thing, that there is certain amount of time that we arrive to work every day. So we have 8 hours of working, and we have certain amount of budget that we need to spend. We needed to figure out, okay guys, when we come to this event of checking our KPIs in the morning, how do we focus? What do we look at? What is the most important stuff? And we started to, based on it, say from 8 hours, let's try and see what the guys from the channel managers will need basically to see the first time they're coming in the morning, what data they can optimize based on. And we try to reduce it, so we try to focus their basically campaigns into top and bottom. Okay, this is the best ones, this is the worst ones, and this is how you need to look at it. We created basically one number that based on it they know if they created a profit or they didn't create a profit, and based on it they know how to optimize the campaign. We went to the product guys and we basically pitched them the idea that at the end they need to create more orders. And if the app is correct, you're going to create more orders, so based on it you need to know exactly what is your performance. And we went to the finance guy and I told them like, okay guys, we're spending money, there is 2 teams here that working a lot to create it. Let's see if we're actually doing it. So at the end we arrived to a moment that we said, okay, net revenues return is the most important KPI, could be, but not necessarily. And then we needed to figure out how we're going to do it. So we found that the real impact is coming basically when you're creating something that is very, very simple and people can relate to it. So it's one number that they come in the morning and they see, okay, we did well yesterday or we didn't do well. And this is where we try to do orders over wows, for example. We said, okay, that can be a very interesting KPI. Is it really creating any change? Then we went to net return and we tried to see if this is creating a change. And we went to a lot of KPI trying to really figure out how can we create any change inside what we're showing. What is our quality index? Basically what we try to do here is to create some index that will explain to us, okay, where are we standing? What are we doing? What's going on with us? And are we doing well? We used a lot of factors inside it. We took a lot of data sources and we combined them together to make sure that we can track everything in one place. And then we came to some conclusions after this that basically explain to us what we need to do and what we're not supposed to do. For example, when we set the KPIs, we understood that we cannot go and force people to optimize based on certain KPIs. We need to come to the teams and understand exactly what is the aiming and then define the KPIs together with them to make sure we give them the best experience they can get out of our reports, because if they're going to enjoy it, they're going to use it, they're going to optimize, and they're going to improve because they understand what's going on and if they are going well or they're doing bad, and based on it they will know what to change. We questioned everything. We basically decided that we're doing one main question that everybody will ask in the morning, and then from there they can have sub-questions to really understand how they're doing. We really decided to define the question as a very important one, but it's not only it's not meaning that it's the purpose. Don't say, okay, my purpose is driving more orders. Different departments, different team has different ways to look at it, so we try to define as best as we could. We took the data structure that we had when we used to use Excel and we used R to run stuff, and we moved it into the data warehouse. So we started to process our data ourselves. We created APIs. We connected as many sources as we could, and we made sure that all these sources can connect together. So we made sure that we know how to take the data and combine it into something that is meaningful for everybody. Our users, as I said before, are not the same. We understood that we need to do something that will change the rule of the games. We need to walk in, as a LandO motto, walk in your client's shoes. So this is what we done. We went to each and every team and we tried to understand, okay, what are you interested in? What's you optimizing based on? How will we be able to change the way you're doing stuff? What will basically move you in the morning? And we try to, as much as we could, to adapt to these needs. When we build dashboards, we've done it today with Tableau in a very, very fast way. We're developing and we keep changing. We never stop because the user's needs never stop. You always need to optimize it. You always need to make sure that you're bringing the latest information and the most up-to-date one. And you need to make sure that your dashboards are always with the right KPIs on the first look. We aligned our KPIs between the departments. So we make sure that, for example, product guys will look at the end at commercial KPIs. Finance guys also using commercial KPIs. At the end, we need to optimize it on the same KPIs, and we have one main goal. So we needed to make sure how we align all this data in one simple dashboard and not creating too many dashboards that people will get lost. people getting lost when they're coming to checking their stuff, and especially when it's coming to engagement, which I see it as a very, very sensitive subject. We're trying to see, okay, this specific client, what is his quality? What is he worth? So we need to optimize based on it, and we need to make sure that we have it in a very easy and safe place. We check our data relevancy, so we keep checking, okay, am I actually bringing better traffic or worse traffic? I'm trying to understand now where I'm standing in matter of my acquisition. Because at the end we have organic traffic and we have paid traffic, and when it's coming to paid, we all know it's a very, very big challenge. So our learnings, our main learning from that, it's don't let Excel ruin you. Connect as many APIs as you can, and then go as low as you can with the data, so the most granular level of data, and then aggregate it up. And keep control over your data, don't let it control you. That's all. And